Photoshop Elements users. I'm Brett Jarnigan from Life Camera Actions, and I've been waiting a long time to say those 4 words. I know you've been waiting a long time to hear them because ever since I launched Life Camera Actions, I've been asked one question. When are your actions coming to Elements? Well, I'm really happy to announce that I finally have an answer to that question. December 6th, 2011, our entire lineup of actions will be available for Photoshop Elements 9 and 10. When I started doing photography, I actually had Photoshop Elements 2.0. So I understand the plight of an Elements user. I always thought, why don't my images look like that? Why are my images flat? And I just assumed it must be my camera or that I had Elements instead of Photoshop. But the truth is, when I discovered Photoshop Actions, it completely changed my photography and my workflow. I was getting better results in less time, and it was just incredible. It really changed everything for me. And I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to help change your work and your workflow with our new actions for Elements. So we have 50 textured actions and 61 workflow and effect actions. Now our textured actions, which I'm going to show you on the computer in a second, are unlike anything you've ever seen. Instead of leaving Photoshop to find the texture, you actually just click a button. It automatically puts the texture on your image, it resizes it, changes the blending mode, it picks your brush tool, and all you have to do is paint it off the skin tones. So something that took maybe 5 minutes, or maybe you didn't even know how to do before, now takes as little as 5 seconds. It's a huge time saver, and it's going to be an incredible addition to your toolbox for your photography. Our 61 workflow and effect actions will help you speed through your images to get them looking perfect, whether you want a vintage effect or a color pop. It's all there within the Suite and our other action sets. Be sure to watch this video through to the end to find out how you can save up to 25% on our actions for Elements on the release date, and watch the demo right now to see our actions in action. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy. LCA for PSE, December 6th, 2011. So here we are in Photoshop Elements 10, and the first thing you're going to notice is that all of our actions are actually in your effects palette. You don't have to go to the action player and try to find the actions and waste time like that. They're all right here. They're in button mode. They're grouped intelligently, so they're easy to find. And we'll go ahead and take a look at our actions in action. So I mentioned our textured actions. We'll go ahead and go through some of those first. Again, you just double click on the action. It's automatically going to apply the texture, resize it to fit your image. It even puts it on a mask layer and picks your brush tool for you. So all you have to do is paint that texture off the skin, and you're done. So something that took 5 minutes before now takes about 5 seconds. It's really fast and really simple. And because it's on a mask layer, if we mess up and paint it off an area where we didn't mean to, we can just flip our foreground and background color and paint it right back in. You can even grab that texture layer and move it around the image so you can get multiple looks from each texture. We'll go ahead and run another texture. This one's called Plaster Bedtime. Again, it picks our brush tool for us, so all we have to do is paint it right off the areas we don't want the texture. There's also a lighter and darker layer within each one of our textured actions in case you want to make any little adjustments. And there's a pop layer, so you can pop the colors in a photo even more. So these are all included in each one of the textured actions just to save you as much time as possible. So we have grungy textures. We also have some very vintage textures. We'll run through a few of those real quick. This one's called Paper Cut. And we just paint that off the skin. And notice that we don't lose the tone of that texture. It stays consistent throughout, so it keeps that vintage look. You don't end up with somebody all gray and looking like an alien because you erase the texture. You're just painting over it to keep that same coloration. This one's called Old Copper. And again, it's a texture with a very vintage effect applied over it. We just paint that right off. And if the effect's too strong, we can just select the texture and tone it down to fit our liking. So we have 50 textures in all. They're all really solid textures, as are all of our actions. I made these for me, so if something wasn't good enough, I just deleted it. So there are no filler actions in here. There are no filler textures. I narrowed 50 textures down from about 2,000 textures. So they're all really good, and you're going to love all of them. We'll run through some of the effect actions real quick. This one's called 50 Years. So here's our before and after. This one's called Awesomeness. Just makes your photos more awesomer. It's a technical term. So here's our before and after. Again, we can change the opacity of all these to really get it exactly where we want it. This one's called Mocha Black and White. So it really mutes down our blown out areas, our highlights. Gives you a really cool effect. This is called Eggshells. Before and after. Strawberry Fields just magically finds pinks and purples in the photo and brings them out without screwing up the skin tones. Antes y después, for my Spanish-speaking friends. The Fashion Action. It's more of a desaturated pop. And again, there's tons of great actions in here. We'll move on to another photo so you can see a few more of these. Now you'll notice with portraits, just about everybody has redness in their skin. And if we try to pop the colors with somebody with red in their skin, it gets even more red. You'll see this a lot with babies or seniors or even on wedding days when it's really hot. So my favorite action of all time is very simple. It's called Red Sucks. And you just paint this right off the skin. And you can see the before and after there. It takes that redness right out of the skin. And once that's gone, then we're free to pop the colors and get a really nice, clean image. We don't make people look like cherry tomatoes anymore. We can take that redness out and then exaggerate the colors as much as we want. I'll zoom in on her eyes a little bit. You can see they're a little bit soft. So I have an action called Insane Eyes. We're just going to paint right over the iris to really make the eyes pop. So here's our before and after. It brings out the color, it brightens them up, and it sharpens them. So it looked a little out of focus before. After, it really could pass as being tack sharp. And then from there, I just run one of our finishing actions. We'll run 50 Years. And we can tone that down. Then if we like, we can put a texture on top of that. I'll go with Al Grungy. And I'm going to paint this off of her face really quickly. So you can see we went from this, which is kind of a crappy image, to that in just a few clicks. Run a few more on this image here. Again, I almost always start out with Red Sucks to get rid of the redness on the skin. So her cheeks are a little bit red, and her hand is a little bit red because it's cold outside. And then from there I can run any one of our actions on top of that. Let's go with Toasty Black and White. More of a modernized sepia tone. Or we can go with Awesomeness because it's just so awesome. There's our before and after. Or if we want to really go retro with it, Warmer Pink is another favorite of mine. So here's our before and after. So we have 50 textures total in our suite and 61 workflow and effect actions for a total of 111. If you're not ready to get the suite, you can get any one of our workflow, vintage touch actions, or texture pack. They're all awesome, and I pretty much guarantee if you get one, you're going to end up getting all three. So you might as well just start out with the suite. I hear that all the time. It's a really solid set of actions, and you're really going to love them. Well, I hope you guys are just as excited as I am for live camera actions on Photoshop Elements 9 and 10. It's been a long time in the making, but on December 6th, you guys are going to be able to get your hands on the greatest actions ever made. So to get 25% off all those actions when they do release, if you could share this video in 2 places online, whether it's your Twitter, your Facebook, or your blog, and then come back to our blog or our Facebook page and post a comment with both links. I'll check it out and I'll send you a discount code for 25% off so you can get all these great actions at a great price too. Now, I want to thank everybody who pestered me for the past 2.5 years asking when these actions were going to be available for Elements, because without you this wouldn't have happened. And my goal has always been to help as many photographers as I possibly can and now I'm extremely happy to be able to share this gift with all of you guys and really help you take your photography to the next level. So this is for you. Thank you. I know you're going to love it, and enjoy.